you keep a constant reminder and keeps the airport top of mind when people are booking their next flight. In addition, we believe a venue would add value to your company by maximizing the utilization of all your idle resources. Regional Chair Ken Sealing was quoted saying, "We want to run like a business." Well, a successful business runs by maximizing its potential and profit by utilizing all its resources. With over 25 acres of available land and empty hangars and facilities, you can put these to use as a venue and bring in an extra stream of revenue by hosting a variety of events. But before we go any further, I want to answer a question I think everyone in the room is probably thinking. What kind of events can be held in an airport? Well, the region of Waterloo is unofficially known as the research development capital of Ontario, with multiple conferences held all year long, some even as large as TEDx. TEDx has huge national and international reach. And by holding this conference at your airport, you're bringing huge promotional awareness and increasing traffic with people landing in the airport and going to the conference. In addition, a venue can also hold concerts. No matter what kind of music you listen to, concerts for that genre are held all year long, with attendees ranging anywhere from 1,000 to over 10,000 people. This can be a huge source of revenue for the company, and with over 25 acres of available land, you have more than enough capacity to accommodate for this demand, and it's definitely something your company should consider.
With such a deep recommendation, it was imperative that we organize our implementation with similar strategy and thought. How did we do that? Well, we divided up our implementation into 3 sections: the immediate term, the short term, and the long term. Now, the immediate term, which runs from when you pick our recommendation until about 4 months from now, we will begin to work on the prep work for our recommendation. This includes creating and introducing the loyalty program, receiving approval for Waterloo Air, and contacting potential lessors for the plane. It is at this point also that we must seek out any additional necessary investments. During the immediate phase, you will begin to see bus shelter ads popping up all across GRT routes, and the logo should now have been redesigned and implemented. We can begin to promote the Chicago flight to festival visitors, as well as the new event space to event organizers. Moving forward into the short term, which runs to up about a year from now, we will be working with coach lines and hotels to create the perfect promotional package for the upcoming Stratford Festival. At this point, we can rent out our current facilities while the construction of the new hangar is underway, and we'll acquire the new plane that is necessary for the airline, so we can begin hiring the additional staff that we require. During the short term is when we expect to implement the direct mail and email campaigns to provide a reminder to the consumer. And finally, in the long term, it's all about continuation. With the new airline in full flight and the construction of the hangar complete, we believe your airport will be in a perfect position of not only financial sustainability, but also future growth. Successful operations can now easily be met with expansion as deemed fit by the airport.
By implementing our recommendation, you will see profitable operations by 2015. By introducing Waterloo Air, you will empower yourselves to respond to changes in demand without relying on these other airlines to be convinced and then wait to introduce a new airline. You free yourselves up. By introducing more travelers to the airport, you increase its value to the whole region, both economically and personally, to each traveler, providing a flourishing airport with many destinations. Today, what we've recommended is that you take flight with Waterloo Air, you move up with a new marketing campaign, you let your sales soar with the Stratford Festival, and you diversify how you make money by becoming the venue of choice for event hosts. We believe by implementing these strategies, you can really see your profits gain altitude and really serve the community in the way we all desire. Thank you.
First of all, great presentation. Very enthusiastic. Can you, are you thinking of doing daily service to Vancouver with one plane? And is that a viable?
Yes, we've actually looked into it, and we've had a discussion with not only airlines that currently exist at Air Canada, and we've discussed with pilots that currently fly for Air Canada, as well as the Vancouver airport. And a daily flight to Vancouver is a viable option with one plane, because it takes roughly an hour-and-a-half turnaround before the plane can come back and provide return flights.
What about in case of mechanical difficulties?
Well, in any case of mechanical difficulties, contingencies will always have to occur, and we have to adjust it accordingly.
Could you, given the market that you're targeting, would it be better to have 3 flights a week as opposed to daily service given that you're not targeting the corporate market in Vancouver, would that give you the same kind of profitability?
Well, currently what we did is we analyzed that previously a seasonal daily flight was offered to Vancouver, so we started there. And since we were able to discover that it's profitable for a daily flight, we stuck with that. Now obviously if we discovered that perhaps it's even more profitable to look at a tri-weekly flight, then obviously we can adjust accordingly.
Again, great presentation. I sort of feel like Howard Stern here on America's Got Talent, but I don't have a big accent. Not that I would use it. The thing that struck me, other than the Waterloo Air, which I do like that idea, I'm not sure that my supervisors and the people that actually own the airport really would like that. However, it is something that we have thought about a lot. But the logo, and you're trying to differentiate yourself from the region of Waterloo. I'm interested into why do you think we need to differentiate ourselves from the region, and is there a strategic reason for doing that as opposed to being part of the region, which I think has some benefits as well? So.
Certainly. So the region is a really important player in this situation as they own and operate the airport. However, what we found is that people are unaware of the distinction between the region itself and the airport. If you visit the website, they both come from the same template, their logos are placed in the same way, they both share that classic blue W. And when you go to sponsor different events or the logo appears elsewhere, it is not nearly as obvious to travelers that it is an airport and it is distinct from the region. So really what we're looking for here is to help raise brand awareness through these marketing activities, make sure you get a higher return on that, because people recognize there's a distinct entity from the region, just as the GRT has its own logo to promote its operations.
I guess a follow-up, so do you think people aren't using the airport because we're owned and operated by the region?
I don't think that would have any impact in this case. It's merely just a case of awareness, whether or not they understand its existence or can recognize it from the region's logo, because it shares different benefits from how you would receive health care or things like that that the region is responsible for.
Okay. And the last thing, I love the Stratford Festival idea, and I think that's a fantastic piece of information. I don't think we do. We do work with the Stratford Festival already, but Sandra's going to look into that as soon as
Actually, the guys from the Stratford Festival are going to Dallas to help train the American Airlines call center staff in September. So we've been working with them pretty closely for a while. But I did have a question as to why you picked that specific festival. There's so many festivals and events that take place. What was it that drew you to the Stratford Festival?
I think one of the things that drew us to the Stratford Festival was really its reach. And a lot of its members come from the Chicago area, as you saw, 6%. It's an exciting festival that really draws on the local community roots. People who go there go for the artistic experience and the small town feel. So I think they'd be particularly in tune to the local airport and then the full service route to get you there, as opposed to the London or Pearson airport. So we think it's all kind of a very holistic approach.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And I just had a question. Why did you guys decide that you would rather go with the bus shelter advertising instead of billboards or actual bus boards? Was there something that drove you in that specific direction?
One of the reasons we chose the bus advertisements is because they are near the street, so it's we are also hoping to do advertisements on the side of buses. Unfortunately, in the city of Kitchener, or fortunately, depending on who you are, we don't have many billboards, so we don't have that littering our skyline, and which makes it hard for advertisers. The one place they do appear in great predominance is on the way to Toronto, which could be an option. However, if people are already slugging it out to that route, it may be hard to convince them to change their ways and come to Waterloo.
Thanks.
Great job.